Now at 5, Oklahoma residents get a discount on their groceries starting today as the state's grocery tax ends. Plus, how the community is helping to rebuild a wildlife park in Wyandotte, Oklahoma following storm damage. And Vice President Kamala Harris gets set to give her first sit-down interview since President Biden stepped down as the Democratic nominee.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
People in Oklahoma are going to start saving on their grocery bills. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Oklahoma is eliminating the 4.5% state tax on groceries effective today. The bill was signed into law by Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt back in February. Stitt says the tax cut could save the Oklahoma family on average about $60 a month on groceries, which would add up to a yearly savings of $720. However, there are exclusions to the tax cut, including alcohol and prepared food that one would find at a local restaurant or fast food chain. Northeast Oklahoma Wildlife Park is working to reopen just 2 weeks after receiving thousands of dollars in storm damage. The director of Creation Safari Wildlife Park in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, says the park had an estimated $50,000 in damage. Things such as their bird enclosures were destroyed, but luckily no animals were injured as a result of the storms. The director says the park isn't letting the storms stop them, and with help from the community, they're working to rebuild.
We had a really remarkable thing happen in a few days to follow. IS Customs, a construction company, has offered to bring their guys and rebuild our bird enclosures. And Wyandotte Nation has funded all of the materials for the bird enclosures.
With cleanup help from the community, the wildlife park is reopening for Labor Day weekend. Park operators say that's their busiest weekend of the year. The heat goes on, at least for now. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Henny.
Yeah, it's definitely turned out to be another hot one for us today. Most of us mid to upper 90s again. 97 is where we stand in Joplin. Looking at Pittsburgh at 95 degrees. So again, another day mid to upper 90s. But this is going to be the last one for a while because our temperatures are going to start to drop off. It's just going to be very hot, very humid this evening. We've had some isolated little thunderstorms kind of lift through the region. And it looks pretty quiet for the rest of the evening, maybe just a random isolated storm, but much better chances for rain late tonight into tomorrow. Look at this. So here's 4:30 in the morning, working into southeastern Kansas. Scattered showers and thunderstorms kind of popping up through the morning, very hit and miss, and then increasing again as we go into the afternoon and the evening hours. Plus, notice our temperature is cooling down as well. We're going to be talking about this coming up here in a bit.
See you soon. The Granby, Missouri Police Department will soon get some new bulletproof vests. That's thanks to the $2,300 check from Hero Fund USA. The organization raises money to help first responders buy life-saving equipment. Granby PD officials say the vests will allow their officers to better serve the community, knowing they are better protected themselves.
They have helped us fund for ballistic vests for all my officers, which is a must in law enforcement this day and age. So it's helped us pay for our vests, which is greatly appreciated.
Hero Fund USA is based out of Blue Springs, Missouri. Both presidential candidates are on the campaign trail today, targeting the battleground states of Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Vice President Kamala Harris, who has avoided answering many questions from the press, is doing an interview for the first time since President Biden stepped aside. Natalie Brand has more details from Washington, D.C.
As Vice President Kamala Harris wraps up her Southern Georgia bus tour, she and running mate Tim Walz sat down with CNN. It's her first major television interview since announcing her run for the White House.
Thank you.
Former President Donald Trump has attacked Harris for not doing the interview live and for having Governor Walz by her side.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan.
Trump is also focusing on the economy, saying he wants the U.S. to be the cryptocurrency capital of the world.
Sounds like we got some fans and some haters.
Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, today addressed firefighters in Boston at the same union convention Governor Walz spoke to Wednesday.
President Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history. And I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike.
Vance told the crowd the Trump ticket will fight for their support whether or not they get it. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The International Association of Firefighters has endorsed President Biden in the past and campaigned for him. Still ahead, where do you go when you gotta go?
Have you ever been out in public and you just couldn't find a bathroom anywhere? I'm Michael George, and I'll introduce you to a woman who started a crusade to help people find public restrooms.
And next in Health Watch, we're going to hear from a nurse in Joplin about testing students dealing with sexually transmitted infections. Topping today's Health Watch, a medical clinic in Joplin has some advice for area students. Choices Medical Services says young people between the ages of 15 and 24 make up 50% of the nation's sexually transmitted infection cases. The director of nursing at Choices Medical Services says the numbers the clinic has seen actually trends higher.
Gonorrhea, chlamydia, and then syphilis, that's 2.5 million cases in a single year. And the CDC says 50% of those cases, those new cases, would be in the ages 15 to 24, so high school to college age.
Choice Medical Services advises anyone who is sexually active to get tested once a year. Researchers say the most common symptom of long COVID is pain. A study at University College London found more than 1 in 4 of all long COVID patients experience symptoms like headache, joint pain, and stomach pain. The study also looked at other common long COVID symptoms. 18% said they experienced anxiety and depression. 14% experienced fatigue. The American Academy of Pediatrics and other groups are getting the word out about getting vaccinated for the flu, ideally before the end of October when the season usually starts. Last season, vaccination rates in children dropped again, and deaths were at the highest level in years. Bradley Blackburn has more.
The Richmonds mark the day they receive their flu shots every year, wearing pink to honor their daughter Kaden, who died from the flu in 2014 at 3 years old.
When we were going to take her for her flu shot earlier, she had an ear infection, so they weren't able to give it to her then. Unfortunately, throughout the day Friday, she just deteriorated terribly. So the flu had taken over her body in that short amount of time.
Jessica now works with the group Families Fighting Flu
to make sure that other people knew how important it was to get your flu shot, and that there are healthy children that, get really bad complications and may pass away from the flu.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends everyone 6 months and older receive the flu vaccine every year. Vaccinations are down, with just 54% of children vaccinated last year, and 193 children died, the highest death toll in several seasons.
Historically, what we know is that most kids who die from the flu are unvaccinated or undervaccinated.
Dr. Christina Bryant with Norton Children's says this year's vaccines will be trivalent, preventing 3 different strains.
Being vaccinated against the flu can prevent the most severe complications.
Jessica's daughter Layla had the flu 2 years ago with high fever, elevated blood pressure, and heart rate, but recovered quickly.
Obviously, knowing my situation, I got very nervous. I truly believe that her already having the flu shot helped her not get as sick.
She hopes sharing her story saves lives. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Children 6 months to 8 years old getting the flu vaccine for the first time will need 2 doses at least 4 weeks apart. A healthy lifestyle can counteract the brain aging associated with diabetes. A study in the UK found people with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes who got a lot of exercise, avoided smoking, and avoided drinking in excess did not have accelerated brain aging. Poorly controlled diabetes can age a person's brain by as much as 4 years, which is a warning sign for dementia. For someone battling loneliness, a call or a text, those just might not be enough. A study by the University of Texas at Austin found only in-person contact had an effect on decreasing feelings of loneliness, among older adults. Phone calls or texts were far less effective when compared to face-to-face socializing. Loneliness has been linked to heart disease and cognitive decline. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the Supreme Court deals another blow to President Biden's plans for student loan forgiveness.
Plus, our temperatures are going to cool down a bit and rain chances increasing. We're going to look at that coming up. Another hot and humid day for us today, like we've seen all week long. Plus, we got some isolated thunderstorms popping up during the afternoon. Very hit and miss. Most of you have been dry, but we have had some scattered storms out there. Here's a great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Mainly partly sunny skies. But look at our temps. Up there again, 97 Monette, 95 Anderson, 94 in Nevada. We have 94 in Parsons, 99 in Nowata. So it is hot. 7th in Rangeline, currently sitting at 97. South winds at about 10 to 15. We've had some gusts, upwards of about 20 at times, and our heat index near 100, if not a little bit above. But we're going to start to cool down over the next few days, and our rain chances go up. The evening hours look pretty quiet. But once we get into late tonight, that's when we'll see some scattered thunderstorms popping up again. We have had those isolated ones over the past few hours, but in general, it looks pretty good. You can still see a couple little blips popping up on the radar. But check out what's going on out toward the west. Here's our cold front advancing across the state of Kansas. Showers, thunderstorms with it. These are mainly going to fall apart as they work in, but we'll get some scattered guys in here late tonight. Let's stop 2:30 in the morning. Independence, Chanute, Iola, Yates Center, a few hit and miss storms, not too strong. Scattered showers and thunderstorms down to the I-44 corridor by early in the morning, kind of fizzling apart, so very hit and miss. Here's the noon hour. Now we're going to watch storms start to pop up in our southern counties, mainly along and south of I-44. So here's 4:30 p.m. Also notice the temperatures. We're all sitting into the mid-80s, which we can definitely take. On and off showers and thunderstorms through the evening hours and then kind of tapering off as we go through the night into Saturday morning. We start the day, some hit and miss storms. As we go through the day on Saturday, of course, it's the holiday weekend. Still some hit and miss showers and a few thunderstorms. But once we get into Saturday afternoon, the better chances will be along and south of I-44. Again, notice the temperatures. We're sitting into the 80s for afternoon highs. Starting on Sunday, into the 60s, so it gets better as we go through the weekend. We got to see where the heaviest storms pop up, but a lot of us over the next few days will pick up a quarter, half an inch, maybe upwards of an inch in spots, which, hey, we kind of need the rain. 73 to start, 86 by noon, high temp of 89 tomorrow, so almost 10 degrees cooler with those scattered thunderstorms during the afternoon. And if you're hitting the lakes, we're going to go to the busiest day, which would be Saturday. Stockton, I think you are looking pretty good. Once we drop south, here's Grand Lake. We are going to have some scattered thunderstorms around, much of the same as we go over toward Table Rock Lake, some scattered showers and thunderstorms around, also toward Beaver Lake, so keep that in mind. 84 tomorrow, not tomorrow, 84 Saturday, 89 Sunday, Labor Day itself, 85 degrees. All right, 89 tomorrow, 84 Saturday. So pretty good, cooler. It's still going to be a little humid, especially on Sunday, but and then temperatures staying to the 80s most of next week.
That sounds great, actually.
Sounds
for August
very good
around here. We'll take it. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, a new social media page is helping people find where to go when they gotta go. Topping today's Consumer Watch, another setback for the Biden administration in its bid to lower student loan debt. The Supreme Court has decided, at least for now, the latest multi-billion-dollar plan cannot take effect. But the Education Secretary said despite the rulings, the Biden administration has forgiven more than $170 billion for more than 5 million American borrowers, and the battle to keep going is not over.
The Supreme Court and lower courts also have rejected some of the plans, which we disagree with. But we're going to continue fighting for borrowers. There are millions of Americans right now that need a little bit of support. College debt shouldn't be a life sentence.
Critics, mostly Republicans, say any plan to forgive student loan debt is unfair to millions who repaid their loans. and is simply transferring the debt to taxpayers. Alarming new details in the nationwide listeria outbreak linked to a recalled Boar's Head deli meats. Documents show federal inspectors flagged dozens of violations at the Boar's Head plant in Virginia linked to the recall, including mold, mildew, and insects repeatedly found at the facility. The number of deaths has climbed to 9, making this the largest outbreak of listeria since the 2011 outbreak caused by cantaloupe. AAA says Labor Day weekend travelers have started hitting the roads already. They say, in fact, that today and tomorrow afternoons are the worst times to travel by car. But drivers will see a break at the pump. AAA says the average price for regular gas per gallon was $3.36 yesterday. That's down around 45 cents compared to last year. It's one of the most relatable problems, being out in public and not being able to find a bathroom. One woman came up with an idea to help solve that issue. Michael George shows us how city governments are now taking notice.
No matter where you are in New York City, Teddy Siegel can tell you where the closest public restroom is.
There's a really good bathroom in here, but
Siegel's day job is as a classically trained opera singer, but somehow she's become famous for another reason, as New York's bathroom influencer. She created Got to Go NYC, a social media account showing where you can find available public restrooms without buying something. Her inspiration came when she herself had a bathroom emergency.
I was out shopping with my sister and I realized a little too late that I really had to go to the bathroom and I had absolutely no idea what to do or where to go.
Siegel ended up highlighting a relatable problem.
It is very difficult to find a ladies' room, so I just hold it or either run into the laundromat or, it's ridiculous.
350,000 people follow Siegel's account, contributing to a constantly updated map of public restrooms. Even New York City Mayor Eric Adams took notice. The city has created its own restroom map, inspired by Siegel's, and announced it's building 46 new restrooms and renovating 36 more.
I really think this connected with so many people because no matter who you are, where you're from, or what you believe in, everybody has got to go to the bathroom.
And Siegel has some advice for how to find a public bathroom no matter where you live.
Try looking in department stores, grocery stores, libraries, bookstores, churches. Those are usually pretty safe bets that will allow you to use their restroom.
She believes access to public restrooms isn't a convenience, it's a right. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Before we go, a final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at new state laws aiming to limit or ban cell phones in the classroom. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more about the efforts to rebuild a wildlife park in Wyandotte, Oklahoma following storm damage. Plus, what officials in Miami are saying about a fire at the city's solid waste dump. And it's the first game day of the season for Missouri Southern. Our very own Brock Baldridge is in Wichita Falls, Texas. Ahead of that kickoff, we expect to hear from him live. Stay with us for CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Astronomers have spotted 6 rogue worlds using the James Webb Space Telescope. Rogue worlds are cosmic objects that don't orbit stars. The celestial bodies are slightly bigger than Jupiter, which is really big. That's by far our biggest planet. The mysterious objects are still considered rare across the Milky Way, and the observations are shedding light on how stars and planets form across the universe. The Webb telescope found them in a star-forming nebula or a cloud of dust and gas 960 light years away, give or take. It's amazing.
I know.
We're finding new things out there all the time thanks to this telescope.
Yeah, technology gets better and better.
That's true. What are we finding about the weather?
Some scattered thunderstorms popping up for us late tonight and then kind of on and off throughout the daytime hours tomorrow, but 80s, which is going to be nice.
Well, indeed. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.